Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I have something new happening on the channel. Well, it's not a new format, but it's a new thing. It's a new league that I'm part of. There's been very little build up to this on the channel, I know that, I'm aware of that. And there's not going to be a lot of editing going on with these videos because I don't have a lot of time. I've bitten off almost more than I can chew with various leagues and league affiliations. But I'm really excited to say I am part of the CCL, that being the brilliant named Chuck E. Cheese League, Swagilyph's league that he started. He very kindly invited me to be a part of it. I was really stoked to be there. I was like, yes, very much in for that. And yeah, really excited to be a part of it. There's a lot of cool people involved. It was really fun to watch it last season, and yeah, I'm absolutely stoked to be a part of it this season. So, obviously, I say there's been no real build up to this. I haven't given a draft video or anything. So before we get into the first game, I'm going to take you over very, very quickly. No real reasoning behind things going into this. I'm going to take you over the team I have. We drafted a little while ago. I drafted first, which was nice. And there are a few things in this league that are not banned, that are banned in others. So my draft, very quickly, is Aegislash, Aegislash, Hydreigon, Milotic, finally, Crobat, Klefki, Rotom-H, Hitmontop, Azelf, Registeel, originally a Miltank, I traded it out, Seismitoad, and Mega Sceptile. That is my draft. That is the team I have going into this league. It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to using a lot of the mons. I've finally got Milotic that I've wanted for ages. Really excited to use Hydreigon because it's power. Aegislash, obviously, I'm looking forward to using. Registeel is a mon I've used before to great effect. Mega Sceptile I'm excited for. Azelf too. I think it's actually a fairly decent draft. But we're not doing a draft video. You're here for a battle, the first battle of this season of the CCL, and as it is, we are playing against the founder himself, Swagilyph. His links will be down in the description. If you don't know who he is, I don't know why you wouldn't. Do go and check him out. He has been a great inspiration of mine for a very long time. I always enjoy watching his videos. He's incredibly entertaining in many ways, and it's always a pleasure to play against him. So yeah, make sure you check out his links. His team, incidentally, I guess I'll go over them before these battles. We've got Skarmory, Tornadus Therian, Thunderous Therian, Conkeldurr, Alakazam, Snorlax, Staraptor, Diggersby, Druddigon, Chandelure, and Mega Heracross. So we've got some spooky, scary stuff, a lot of things that he's used before to great effect. Skarmory he used last season in the CCL really well. Mega Heracross he got the absolute best out of in his tenure in the GBA. And he's got spooky stuff. I hate Tornadus Therian. If you know me, you know that I hate Tornadus Therian. It is the bane of my existence. And he's got ridiculous threats. Conkeldurr is power, Alakazam is power, Snorlax is tough to take down. Staraptor I wanted. And it's scary. Diggersby is cool people. Yeah, he's got all sorts of things on this team that are good. So, yeah. Without further ado, I guess, let's get straight on into the battle and see how things play out. So, I'm going to lead off with Hydreigon. Joe, he's going to lead off with his Chandelure, but he's not going to want to stay in here. If I'm Scarfed and he's Scarfed, I will outspeed him. He does want to take a Dark Pulse. He's going to go into his Snorlax to try and tank that, but first turn, I'm just going to go for the big old Head Smash. It doesn't do a lot of damage. In fact, after the leftovers, I do more damage to myself than I do to the Snorlax, which is a bit unfortunate. Here, however, I do go for the Superpower. I knew he wasn't Choppleberry because I'd seen lefties, so I go for the Superpower. I do nice damage. He goes for Whirlwind here, and what he's going to do is Whirlwind me straight into my Aegislash, which I am absolutely fine with. This Aegislash does pack the Sacred Sword for this exact situation, mainly actually for a Curse Snorlax, but this is a secondary situation where it works. And as you can see, I go for the Sacred Sword, I am max attack, and that is going to drop. Down goes Snorlax turn 3, so no cursing shenanigans for Swag, and that's grand. In comes Diggersby. I have no interest in taking an Earthquake, not now, not ever. So I'm going to get on out of there and go into Hitmontop. Get the Intimidate, which is nice, and Joe is actually going to go for the Sub, which scared me a little bit. I was thinking maybe Sub Agility, He's going to go for the return here at -1. It does too much damage. I'm not defensively invested. And I go for the close combat to break the sub, but you know, with the defense drop especially, I have no interest in staying in here. So I'm going to go out into a nice middle ground switch, which is going to be the Klefki. I'm physically defensive. I can take an Earthquake if he goes for it. He goes for the return. It does so little damage because he's at -1 and I'm a Klefki. So we're looking pretty good here. He is going to switch out. He doesn't want to stay in here. He has no reason to. He's going to go into the Thunderous, which is a nice switch for him. There's nothing I can do to it. I'm actually going to pull a switch of my own, and I'm going to go into Hydreigon. But I know these things pack Focus Blast. You know these things pack Focus Blast. We all know they pack Focus Blast. So I'm going to make a switch, go into my specially defensive Rotom-H. As Joe does go for that Focus Blast, I am going to take it. I'm going to take it fairly usefully. Get some leftovers back, and I'm looking at 71%. We're looking pretty good. Now Joe knows he outspeeds. He's going to go for the Volt Switch, and he's going to get the hell on out of dodge, not wanting to take any kind of hidden power ice. He goes into Chandelure, you know, just in case I want to go for Overheat. I go for the hidden power ice. It does nothing. It's a Chandelure, of course it does nothing. So he's in with his Chandelure. I'm pretty sure I can take any one hit and Volt Switch out. He's going to go for the Shadow Ball. I do take the hit. Special defense drop doesn't matter because, as I say, I'm Volt switching straight on out of there. And what I can do here is go into my Azelf and really threaten. He doesn't have switch-ins to Azelf really other than Scarm. And he's just going to stay in and let me go for the knockoff and take him out. I knock off his Scarf, so now he knows that I'm Scarfed at the very least. So he is going to be able to go into Alakazam, and this just screams Focus Sash. So I'm going to get out. I don't want to take a Shadow Ball, not now, not ever. Gonna go into Klefki to try and take that, and he's going to go for the Shadow Ball. It does nice damage, but it's not enough to 2-hit KO from the range I'm at. I can get some leftovers back. Now, Thunder Wave is very obvious. He has two switches, one defensive, one offensive, or one more offensive than the other. This is that one, but I see that coming. I know that's what he's going to go into, and I'm going to go for the Light Screen to try and take a hit a little bit better. But now I have to try and play around this thing and decide what to switch into it. And I figure Rotom can probably do the job, even at the low amount of health I am at. He is going to go for the Thunderbolt here, and it's going to do 9%, so we're tanking that hit. And with the leftovers and the screen, I'm pretty sure I might be able to take another hit. He's going to go for the Focus Blast. He does crit me. In retrospect, you know, how much that mattered is debatable. I highly doubt it did in the end. I was going to go for a Pain Split, but, you know, whatever. I can go into Azelf. I can outspeed and get some massive damage onto something. I go for the Ice Punch here. It does 76%, which is good damage. And he's going to go for the Volt Switch. And what he's going to do is he's going to Volt Switch into his Skarmory, which comes in right about now, and I'm going to pause the game. This is where things start getting a little bit hairy for one of us. Skarmory has become a bit of a problem for me, because my only really surefire way of taking it out was Rotom. And as you will notice, Rotom is no longer with us. Rip in the finest of ovens. So now, things are getting a bit interesting. Azelf does not have the coverage to really touch this guy. Klefki can't do anything to it. Hitmontop loses 1v1. Aegislash and Hydreigon are the only things that can really do anything to it. Aegislash is going to want to be fairly heavily set up before it can do any significant damage. So it's really Hydreigon's Fire Blast which is what I need to rely on here. So my thinking is he's probably going to stay in and try and get hazards up. He knows I'm choiced. He knows I can't really touch him. So my idea was go for the Ice Punch, which hopefully will do enough damage to the Skarmory to the point where 2 iterations of leftovers will not get him back to sturdy. So my plan being, go for Ice Punch, get some damage as he presumably goes for hazards, and then as he goes for maybe some more, I switch into Hydreigon. By the time he gets leftovers at the end of that turn, he's not at sturdy, and I can really pressure his team, go for a Fire Blast, and do some damage to something. That was my thinking. Unfortunately, this is where Joe decides he really wants to try and make some plays. Imagining me to switch out, as you'll see, he's actually going to pull the switch of his own into his Diggersby, which is bad for him because I'm not playing ball with his plan. I stay in and go for Ice Punch and get huge damage on the Diggersby, and this is where things take a turn for the worst for Joe, unfortunately, for him. So now he has to switch out and take some damage on something else. He's now going to go back into the Skarmory, and as you'll see from the damage this Ice Punch does, it's 18%, it's not a lot. Now, my original plan would have worked, because as you can see, leftovers after the next turn will not take him back up to 100%. So, I am going to pull the switch, I am going to go into my Hydreigon, as Joe is going to go for the Brave Bird, and that does too much damage. I was uncomfortable with the amount of damage that did, but he can't stay in here. He needs this Skarmory, you know, it does a lot to some of my team and it can stall out a lot of things. So he's going to go into Thundurus to sack it off, which was grand. I'm glad to see the back of that. I nail it with a Fire Blast and down goes the Thundurus. But that was kind of what he had to do. It does afford him the free switch into this guy, Alakazam. I have no interest in taking a Dazzling Gleam. Not now, not ever. I'm not about that life. I'm going to go into Hitmontop. It's the least useful member of my team at the moment. It's the most expendable thing. He goes for a Shadow Ball. It wouldn't be a 2-hit KO. He does get the Spadef drop, which is good. Now, here I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch to try and break its sash, but Joe is a much better player than that. He knows that's what I'm doing. He sees it coming a mile away. Sucker Punch is not going to do anything, and now what we're going to see is a bit of Hitmontop versus Skarmory action, which is, of course, what you came to see. It's fascinating stuff, so, you know, strap yourselves in. I go for a close combat. It does some nice damage to this guy, and he's actually going to get his rocks up, and this is the one Assault Vest Hitmontop that isn't packing Rapid Spin, because as I say, I'm really good at this game. I'm going to go for close combat again, but he is going to live it because of those leftovers, and he's going to be able to start to roost up and basically storm me out of close combats, is what he can do here, because he knows that's the best thing I have to hit him. I'm going to go for it again. I'm just trying to see what kind of rolls I can get. But Joe is just really going to be content to sit here and just roost. He has nothing better to do. And he can be quite content doing it. He's going to be absolutely fine doing that. He has nothing to fear from this Hitmontop. I'm just wasting my close combats. And now it just becomes a sort of turn of when am I going to switch out. I can't afford to switch into Hydreigon in case he predicts it and does eventually go for the Brave Bird. So, what I'm going to do instead, here I'm going to pull the switch and I'm going to go into Klefki, just to keep scouting out what he's going to do. And he is going to go for the Roost, and he is back to full health. Now, there's nothing I can do to him. There's no point setting up spikes. I have no reason to put up a light screen just yet, and Dazzling Gleam will do nothing. However, this is his time to go into his Diggersby, and I nail the Diggersby on the switch with a Dazzling Gleam. So that has gone very well. I did manage to predict that, which was, I was so happy to get that Diggersby out of the way. Now it's basically Alakazam and Skarmory versus the world. We're in a very good position here. He is going to go back into the Skarmory. There is nothing I can do to it. The only thing I can do is go for Thunder Wave and see what he's going to do. He does unfortunately get paralysed here. That was unfortunate. But even so, I still can't switch in the Hydreigon. I need a safe free switch. So, what I'm going to do, go into my Hitmontop and once again try and sack it off to this guy. But Joe is going to try and set things up for the Alakazam to sweep late game. He's going to go for a layer of spikes just for extra hazard damage. I do go for the CC here, and at this point Joe is going, I believe, to take me out with the Brave Bird. Down I go. So right now, down goes Hitmontop. But this is the free switch I have been afforded that I wanted in the first place into my Hydreigon. So, in comes the dragon. I am going to just click Fire Blast here. He doesn't really have too much of a reason to switch out. Alakazam is his best bet at this point. So, down goes the Skarm to the Fire Blast. And now in is going to come that Alakazam. I'm not going to make any risky switches here. I am just going to let Hydreigon go down to the incoming Dazzling Gleam, which is exactly what happens. What I can do here, though, is go into Azelf. I know I outspeed it. I'm fairly certain he is going to be sashed. There it is, and what I can do is go for the U-turn. I'm fairly safe to go into my Aegislash, who is of course in shield form. I take a little bit of hazard damage. I know the Shadow Ball's coming, but I also know that I'm an Aegislash and I can take it. And that's exactly what happens. It does pop the incredibly useful weakness policy. And what I can do here is just go for the Shadow Sneak, take out the Alakazam, as we see right about now. Down goes the Alakazam, and ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the game. So, there it is. We do take a 3-0 victory in the first game of the CCL for this season, which is a really good start to it. I'm very happy with how the team performed here. And I know Joe was a little bit upset with how things went. Previously he has said that he's not the kind of person that makes a lot of like risky doubles. He was trying to make some plays in this game, which was very evident. Unfortunately, I was able to get on top of him with those, and I know he wasn't too happy. Joe is the kind of player who sets himself very high standards, for himself, and rightly so, because he's a very good player. He's a very canny player, and he knows his shit. He's also a very unlucky player, so I'm quite glad that there was very little hacks in this game. But Joe sets himself very high targets. He has a very high standard for the kind of plays he should be making and the kind of plays he does make. So yeah, I know he was a bit unhappy with it, but he's still a very good player. This is the first game of the season. There's loads of time left. Loads of time left in the season for him to get back on track, which he will, I'm very, very certain of. So what it means is, yeah, as I say, we do take our first victory, which is grand, nice, and 3-0. So, next up in this league, I believe we're going to be playing against... Are we against Leech Siege United? I think we're against Pippo and Leech Siege United. Not someone I know very well, but it's going to be interesting to play against him. Because, as I say, I don't know him very well. I don't know his playstyle. So it's going to be a bit of an experiment. So you can expect to see that probably sometime next week. I'm not sure, with what regularity these are going to go up on a certain day. But we'll see what we can do with these. They'll probably be sort of midweek as and when they do go up. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap things up from me. So thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you've enjoyed. Make sure, of course, to check out Swagilyph. His links will be down in the description. He is a fantastic guy. I'm a huge fan of his. I was overjoyed that he asked me to be part of this league. Good group of people, and he's one of them. He set it up, of course, and yeah, check out his channel, check out his links. He says things on Twitter, and he does things on the YouTube, so yeah, links down there. Look at them, follow them. They will lead you to your dreams. But yeah, I'm going to get out there. I've rambled on for far too long. So my final thank you to you all for watching, and I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.